Hello, I've got a personal journey I'd like to sort of talk to you about, which has ended up being now a whole group of us. Started 3 years ago. One of my friends, a close friend of mine, actually passed away to a heroin overdose, at which point I decided to go travelling because I had so many questions. And safe to say, a year later, I hadn't answered any of those questions. I just had a good time. And I was running in the Alps, French Alps, on a ski season, and I realised to myself that I was trying to escape my emotions. And I said to myself there and then, I'm going to come back to London and I'm going to focus my emotions. I'm going to channel my emotions into something. That began an 8-month research period where I spoke with everybody and anybody I could in the homeless sector, because my friend who was addicted to heroin, I started with drug addiction, and I very quickly found out that drug addiction is just one of the many complex needs that make up homelessness. So during that period, I was working in a restaurant almost every night to try and survive, just to live. And then every day I was meeting 4, 5, 6 people just to figure out what was going on and try and find answers to my questions. At the same time, I also started to run a lot, and I ran almost every single day. I ran around London. I ran every single night. I'd go night running. I'd find meet the most inspirational, interesting homeless men and women. But with all this running, I started a new sort of research band came out, and I started looking at the powers and the effects, the benefits that I'm starting to have from running. And I started to look at that, and I realised that there's a couple of things I found. The first one was the transferable benefits of running into everyday life. For example, goal setting goals and having the targets that you bring into everyday life. And schedules, routine for the training programs you have, bringing them into everyday life, and actually having a schedule in your day and routine every day is really effective. And then you've got the whole, physical fitness, how it influences your mental stability. The second thing I found was the power of camaraderie. I found that the most incredible, there's a fascinating range of people that make up a running club. You've got people from all different cultures, religions, businesses, all in a club where when you go running, all of that doesn't matter. You're just a runner, and you're all equal. So I've just suddenly saw the fact that we're all equal as runners. It doesn't matter, and it also doesn't matter along the journey of a runner. If you've just ran your first run today, or you've been running for a couple of years and you're now winning gold medals for your country, it doesn't matter, because we all started with the first run. And that first run always is about either changing or improving your life. Think of your first run. I don't think you were thinking selfishly to do something else. It wasn't that. Even Conrad Williams, who's a coach at our charity, he's just won 2 gold medals in the last 2 tournaments in the last 2 weeks. He went running, he walked past a athletics club, and he decided to go in there and give it a go. It wasn't because he wanted to be the best athlete, So with those 2 things in mind, I met a person, and they said, with a young person that's in a downward spiral, they tend to push their family and friends away because they don't want their loved ones to see them in the situation. And I found it really interesting, and I just thought, okay, well then therefore a secondary support system is needed. At that point, a light bulb hit me, and I just thought the power of camaraderie at the running club, and what one little solution of what hopefully there are many others to homelessness and to support a young person. I thought the two collided and actually made sense. So then after the 8 months, I sat down with 12 young people, one of which is here today, which is quite moving for me. And we there and then designed a program, a sport for development program. And with their commitment and our hard work of all of our volunteers and the volunteers of our partner, New Horizon Youth Centre, all 12 graduated 6 months later with jobs, with housing, and they all completed the big mud and obstacle race at the end of the 6 months. So it worked. I couldn't believe it. These young people just inspired me and gave me so much motivation and passion to keep going, to forget about not having a wage and having to work my nights. I just knew this was incredible. So 18 months later, we'd worked with 100 young people, and we had a £4.4 million cost saving because of our work. Just us little group. And that was mind-blowing. But at the same time, all these amazing things were happening, but we were all voluntary. We were not on a wage. We were just doing this in our spare time, making this happen. And even in fact, we've got young people from the first project who are now coaches and instructors of these programs now. So it's a whole incredible spiral. They're not doing it to get money. They're doing it because they love what they're doing. They love to run. So I sort of, my emotions started going all over the place. And I was back to kind of where I was at the beginning. I was so confused and so overwhelmed with what needed to be done that I thought, okay, with hindsight, I'm going to go for a run. So one Saturday morning after the guys finished a park run, I left London and I headed north. I got to the M25 and you go under a bridge and it felt like this big gate, this big sort of fence around London. I sort of gone under, and out the other side was just green. And it was sunny, and the butterflies were going everywhere. It was most amazing. I thought, I'm going to keep going. And I just kept going to the point where I got to my friends at Welwyn Garden City, 26.3 miles later. The next day I woke up, I'm like, I'm going to keep going, because I decided I'm going to go 1,000 miles to Edinburgh in 40 days. Because I was like, I need to clear my mind, I need to get refocused, so I'm going to keep going until I do that. So the next day I woke up with a serious knee injury, because I brought my laptop, my chargers, my books. I brought everything with me. I couldn't, I liked the idea of just letting everything go and going for it, but obviously I couldn't. So I left all that behind, and that day I covered 11 miles. I managed to nurture my knee all day. Then the next day I did 27 miles to Bedford, at which point my host wasn't there, so I stayed I slept a couple of hours in a pub, and then at midnight ran again 32 miles. So that was an experience. The next morning, I felt absolutely amazing. I thought I was going to wake up and feel dreadful and couldn't move, but my nutrition was spot on. My mental stability was there. I knew what I was doing, and I was going to get to Edinburgh. And my body got used to all this running, all this movement. So I then kept going and going and going. I ran. The next day was 27, then 28, then 26, then 27 again. I was in Telford, right? And I felt so good. This is day 9. I'd ran 210 miles by this point, and I was going to go and cross the Welsh border. And so 5 miles in, and I stopped, and I knew another step wasn't going to be my journey. So I was thinking, what is this all about? And I realised that I had, over the 8 days, just released and got rid of everything that I was worried about. I'd started actually enjoying my run, enjoying my environment, actually enjoying my thoughts. So I actually was able, suddenly on day 9, 5 miles in, everything just came rushing back because I was really so focused again. And I decided that I wasn't going to keep going, that I was going to come back to London. But the reason being is because I knew what we had to do. I was so clouded beforehand, but now I understood, and we were a program, and we were helping young people, and it's really successful. But it was based on no model. Well, there was a structure to the program, but no model behind it. There's no machine, as it were, behind what we were doing. There was no sustainability. We were just a group of people that loved and had so much passion for not only running, but we were all involved in the homeless sector, and we all loved to help people. But to move forward, you can't just rely on us with no money to keep going and find those people in every city. It's going to be difficult. So I realised that the next thing is to become a charity, so we can help a lot more young people. So we've gone from a running program to now called the Running Charity, which makes sense. Says what it does on the tin. And what's fascinating with this, I'm going to leave you one last point, is with what we're doing, we're all runners. What we do, we're all volunteers. Everyone that volunteers at our charity are professional runners, professional PT, personal trainers, gym instructors. But to move forward, to help young people across this country, we want to embrace the actual greater running community, because we all do it. We're all part of running clubs. All the instructors at your running clubs, they're all runners as well. And there are hundreds of thousands of running clubs across this country. Now we're changing lives using running as the solution. We're not using running just as the fundraising mechanism, which millions are raised every year. So it's an interesting stage in our sort of journey, because we want to take what is one of the most positive groups of individuals, just groups of communities on the planet, to actually become one of the most socially proactive communities on the planet. Because I know runners, we can do that. We've shown it time and time again. And that's what we feel we're here for. And so, here's to the next chapter. Here's to us. Thank you.